And welcome to the final part of the Transformers Power of the Primes Predaking review. Today we're going to be taking a look at, of course, Razorclaw and Predaking himself. But first of all, before we start, this is not the Matrix of Leadership. This is in fact one of the, I think, 2 different ones you could get, or 3 different ones you can get in this set. This is what I'm calling the Matrix of RX Prime. Now, RX Prime, for those of you who do not know Transformers mythos, is the Prime who created the 13. The Beast Formers. And as you can see here, on this little dude, he's just black and orange with the symbol on the back. And, of course, he folds like a Headmaster does and pops in and out of the Matrix hot sheath. He doesn't really do much more than that, and there is storage on here, but we'll get to that when we get to Predaking, and I do quite like this. It does signify that there are other, well, for me at least, other matrices. I mean, Japan did, the Japanese continuity had the Energon matrices. But Razorclaw here, as you can see, turns into a very blocky but chunky lion, or lion, if you're not trying to put on a false French accent. He does have some articulation. His mouth does open. Roar. Front legs can go yay far and can go all the way back. Again, due to the transformation. And back legs, you do get a little bit of flippity-dippity. So there's really not much more to write home about. He's just a blocky lion. So let's get down to transformation. So we are going to start with the legs first. Yep. So with the legs, you're going to untab. You're going to untab these side panels because they tab into that slot there. They will tab that happens inside there. That is my cat. He is not a lion. That is Lump. Hush now, Lump. You're going to angle this quite right because there is this slot that's going to go into that. That tab going into that slot. That's going to basically become your leg. Once you've angled it just right to get it in there. So that way you've got it nice and squished, and then you can bring down the hip flap. Second verse is much like the first. Untab, bring down, fold up the foot, and then just angle everything till it fits. There we are. Bring down the hip flap. Next up, you're going to take the lion head, rotate it 180 degrees, and bring it down. That is going to flush out the chest. And then you're going to bring up the robot mode head and bring that down. Bring the arms down, untab this, swivel it around, and bring it back. Do be careful, these mushroom pegs do like to pop off. Bring down, around, and swivel. Bring forward. Rotate the arms forwards, and bring out the hands. Now, they can be quite a bit harder to bring out, because they do like to be a bit of a bellend. And there we have Razorclaw in his robot mode, and it's actually one of the few robot mods I do quite like. Him and Dive Bomb both have some very good robot modes, as it does really quite correlate well to who they are. And of course, as we know, Razorclaw here is the leader of the Predacons. Articulation-wise, well, Razorclaw, his head can do a full 360. It can look up quite far due to the transformation joint. There's one really big tree. I do also like the Pseudo-Optimus head. Arms can do a full 360. They can go in and out. You get a swivel at the bicep, bend at the elbow, and a little bit of wrist articulation. You don't get any waist articulation, unfortunately, on here. And you'll see why in a moment. Bring the hip forward. Legs can go that far. They can go that far back. They can bend, and they can go out. And you get just about 90 degrees of bend at the knee. And of course, you do get some foot tiltage, so you can have him in awesome poses. Now, as you saw just before, the waist can come up. That does mean, unfortunately, that poor old Razorclaw here is the only one of the combiners not to have any, waist articulation. So let's get him into Predaking. So first of all, what we're going to do is pull up the lion head. You're going to take your Beast Matrix, and you're going to plug it in like so. And if you want to get it out, there is a hole in the back there that you can just push against to get it out. Bring that down. That flushes up the head a bit more, adding into some details. Rotate the head around, and rotate this head down. Bring the arms down and fold in the hands. This just gets everything out of the way. You're going to then have a bit of a conniption because you've got to get this part out. And this part likes to fight me. So once you get your fingers in, bring this up and down. Then bring out the side panels here, and that's going to be your here. So you're going to bring these up so they tab in on like so. Like so. Unfold the waist. And then you're going to bring out the head, fold the waist back up, and bring the Predaking head out. That's why he has no waist articulation, is this big noggin. Then with the legs, you're basically going to transform them back into his beast mode. You're going to angle them down, because you have to actually get them into a position where they're going to allow you to angle them down, because the feet, for whatever reason, just don't bend down. And that's one of the major complaints I have with this specific figure is, you know, there's no really good feet articulation. And just fold these down. I like to bring them down like that. Get them all nice and tapped in and squozen. Then, we're going to bring up the camera. Because this dude is big. And it's going to require me to stand up. There we go. Get that all centered. Bring over the torso. And you're going to take these two parts in here. They're going to fit over the top like so. Get that in and locked in. You're not done yet. With Predaking, as you can see, he has two rails on each side of his body. You're basically going to take the rail section here on Dive Bomb and Rampage, and you're going to slide them bring the guns down, actually. You're going to slide that on, and then you're going to bring up the wing, and it's got two tabs in the wing here. Oh, that's not showing. So, in the wing here, there's two slots here. There are two tabs on each side of the body. You're then going to line them up and tab them into place, and that is going to lock in the arms. Second verse is much like the first. Slot onto rail. Bring it down. Bring up the wings. Make sure everything stays all nice and squozen. Shush. That's my other cat named Spot. And there you have Predaking almost complete. You're then going to take the guns and you're going to untab this part here. And there are two posts on the bottom of what was Razorclaw's feet. You're just going to tab them in there, angled at any angle like them. Hush now, Spotadinsky. You is like a cat who thinks she's hungry, who has been fed. 1 second. And yeah, he is one huge transformer. Now, for those of you who are very much unaware, he is 18 inches tall. He is my second tallest transformer, right behind Transformers Cybertron, Legacy Cybertron Universe, Metroplex. For size comparison, here he is next to Combiner Wars Bruticus. Bruticus doesn't even come up anywhere. And knockoff G1 Superior. And just to bring that back a bit, that is how big the combiners are. Now, if I had some of the 08 Energon, like some of the Energon Transformer combiners, I'd put them in here too, but I don't. So let's get down to articulation for Predaking, because I think Predaking actually does have quite a bit more articulation than his counterpart, what makes up his limbs. So, first of all, his head is on a swivel joint, and it can do a full 360. And due to the transformation joint, he can look up and go, Predaking would have punched that big-ass tree. His wings can move back, still have that flap joint from Razor Wing, Dive Bomber Wing, and you can move, so you can make the wings flap and you can move them back, which is good. And you want to make sure they don't cam. Both arms can do a full 360 if you've moved the wings out of the way. You get bend at the waist, rotation at the wrist, and you do get a little bit of hand articulation, and of course you untab everything because shush, you evil cat. Oh, something might be up and I don't know what. Get that tabbed back into place because that's how it does. You do even get a bit of a waist joint on old Predaking, and his legs can go forward yay far. And because of a really nice ratchet joint, they can hold its place. You do get a bit of a bend at the knee, which is a bit of a problem because the joint doesn't lock in. You can utilize the combiner, the combination mode thing, waist joint, and of course you do get a bit of a foot slump. So you can have Predaking totally look at his foot and go, ew, what did I step in? So that is Power of the Primes Predaking. Would I recommend it? That is a question that is very difficult to ask. Because Predaking is definitely one of the figures who suffered because of the fact that they had to really work in the robot mode. Shut up! Silly cat. Silly cat. You was not hungry. You has been fed. She has been fed, so don't worry about it. Predaking, I would have to say, if you wanted to get an updated version of Predaking, I would frankly, if you are going to get the Power of the Primes Predaking, one second. As I was saying, if you are going to pick up Power of the Primes Predaking, I highly recommend picking up the Power of the Primes Predaking Feral Rex upgrade, because it gives Dive Bomb an upgrade, it gives all of the combiners, all of the limbs, the sword. It also gives Predaking his iconic sword that he utilized. Not only that, but I think Predaking does suffer quite a bit, and I kind of would advise, if you find a third-party transformer that you like more than Predaking, then go for it. Mainly just because, with the way that Hasbro have decided to do Predaking himself, I really feel like making all of the characters Voyagers didn't really work as well as it intended to be. Other than that, with the fact that the robot modes of the individual combiners suffer, and the combined mode looks amazing, there really isn't much more I can say badly about Predaking, because at the end of the day, it's Predaking. But I do highly recommend getting the Feral Rex upgrade, something I will eventually do when I'm able to find it for quite cheap. Because I'm not paying $100 for a new pair of hands and blades and a new pair of wings. So, with that being said, that has been the Transformers Power of the Primes Prime Wars Trilogy Predaking review. I have to say, if you are wanting to get this figure again, pick it up. Make sure you can find it for cheap. I got it for cheap. Quite cheap, basically half price, from a mate over in the West Coast. Other than that, this is Duncan Hoover saying G1 Superior, and I will catch you in the next video. This is Duncan Hoover signing off, saying G1 Superior, and remember, you are loved. And I'll see you next time. Bye!